Heyo, and welcome back to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. You got the brothers Matulski, you got brother Krasner this evening. A very, very happy 420 to all the listeners. A happy Patriots Day, Marathon Monday. As those who might be listening or viewing can tell, my voice is shit as I went to the Red Sox game yesterday in that cold weather, and I think I picked up a cold at the game, fellas. So I won't be doing too much talking and interjecting tonight, but let's get rolling. I do want to start here. It is Marathon Monday, Patriots Day, one of the best days in the city. Ends up probably being like the best weather that a runner could ask for the marathon. You know, high 50s, low 50s, no precipitation. And you got John Career from Kenya winning his second straight Boston Marathon, setting a course record of under 2 hours and 2 minutes. And then you have him beating Jeffrey Mutai, who had the record beforehand. You got all the winners as well. And just one of the best days in the city, fellas. Anything on Marathon Monday or the great holiday that it is today, given my circumstances, I haven't participated in any festivities, but I sure hope you all take a toke from.
Well, for those that tend to celebrate this holiday, you're not really a true actual user, so to speak, because every day is April 20th. But that being said, as far as Boston Marathon goes, we were actually and I don't want to like deviate to school or anything, but we were in nursing class talking about like mass casualty incidences, and we were talking about the Boston Marathon bombing, and I was just talking about how I thought it was one of the, like, you won't see this in any other city. I mean, you might, but like I just remember that they were like they were showing news footage of like runners, like they had just finished running this marathon and they had started running to the fucking hospital to go donate blood. That only like that kind of shit only happens in Boston. And it was just, it was a stark reminder of some really dark times in the city, but with a win today and, like Plotty said, some pretty good running conditions, it was, ultimately a good day overall. But just it does bring to mind things that have happened in the past and just the adversity that the city goes through and what they do to actually go through it and come together as one. So with all the negativity that Boston fans get, just there's a difference between us and other fans.
Yeah, it totally brings out the best of the city, the marathon. You just see people cheering from all the way from Hopkinton down to Copley Square along the 26.2-mile route that goes through, I think, 6 towns and cities. It's such a vibe. I've only got to experience really kind of towards like the Brookline, also like Brighton area as a fan. And it's such electric vibes, and seeing all the videos of some of the runners who kind of, passed out at the end, and seeing some of the other runners pick them up and cross them to help them cross the finish line is really, really special. And it's just a great day for the city. And it's really what Boston is all about. Is just the marathon and Marathon Monday as a whole.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit to this here. We all love Marathon Monday. It's one of the best traditions in Boston and in the New England area, Massachusetts. I think it goes without saying, obviously, there's the whole competitive aspect to it with, like the guy who won today, and obviously not just that, but countless legends that have been born through this. But there's also a huge fundraising piece that takes place for the marathon as well. There's a lot of people that run the marathon who, quote unquote, aren't running to win or to place, but really there to raise a lot of money for great causes. So it really is a true large philanthropic effort as well that I think sometimes goes under reported than it should.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Congrats to all the runners. Congrats to guests of the podcast, McBone, for running the marathon today. And obviously, it goes without saying how Kraz mentioned the events of 13 years ago and what happened really transformed everything and made this day that much more special. J Matt mentioned, being in Brookline. I grew up in Ashland, so that's one of the towns the marathon came through. I actually had to go to Ashland today and had to go a whole different route to get to the parents' house today. It's because 135 was closed. So it's just one of those days where if you lived in one of those towns, it was a special day and it sort of revolved around it. Also, a shout out to all the organizers and volunteers that are involved with the event. The FIFA World Cup people could learn a thing or two from the BAA and how they go ahead and run the marathons. Just a great day. We'll get to the Sox and their victory today in just a little bit, but it's time to get to the entire sports weekend. In the week that was, we had the playoffs kick off We're going to start with the positives of those playoff teams and the team in green who just absolutely dismantled the Sixers in game one. Big E, I'll hand it to you to break it all down and give us the scoop.
Yeah, we want Boston. We want Boston. We want Boston. I guess maybe if you're Philadelphia, maybe you don't want Boston anymore. So that's my initial take from game one. A great effort from the Celtics. 10 p.m. game on Sunday. They just completely took over from start to finish. It was a beating from, literally from start to finish. JB had a great game. He had an amazing third quarter. I think scored 16 points in that quarter, finished with 26, 4 and 3 for the game, plus 24. And then Jason Tatum, I think we can all agree he's back, right? There is no, he's still kind of working himself back in. He had 25, 11, and 7, plus 20 on the floor and had 32 minutes. And I think he was able to sit with about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So you didn't have to overuse him. Your usage on him was really great. Really, I would say the only thing that kind of was a little bit of a negative during the game was foul trouble that Neemias Queta got himself into, especially without Joel Embiid. Perhaps in the series, there isn't as big of an edge for the 76ers at the center position. So it's a little concerning that Nemi got caught a little bit in this game because hopefully the Celtics are able to continue on a long run throughout the playoffs. And, some of these next teams, we're going to be playing some pretty talented big men. So something to kind of keep your eye on and see how Queta kind of rebounds over the next couple of games. But I'd love to throw it out to you guys, see what were some of your takes. What are some of your things that you guys took away from the game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they as a whole really are starting to gel and play great team basketball. Vucevic, he obviously is a little bit rusty. He was the only thing that or the only player that stood out to me that kind of looked almost lost. Granted, he did come over in a trade via the trade deadline. He was injured for 4 or 5 weeks and didn't really get to play with these guys. And I wrote it in our little screenshot here that he will win us a game moving forward, and that rust will shake off. But there were some times where he did look really kind of lost out there when the rest of the team was kind of just gelling. But for me, I think the biggest overall take was just how well the team looked composed together. It looks like they haven't missed a beat with Jason Tatum coming in. And that's really, really, really great to see because it only bodes well for us. Nemi, like you said, he can control. Again, I believe a couple of those fouls were on Tyrese Maxey, and he's just a really slippery guy that will just kind of get you to pick up that foul at the end. But we held him to 20 points. So, I mean, if he can keep away from that foul trouble, like you said, Embiid's not around, so there really shouldn't be an issue with the center getting, fouled that much. I honestly think this team has a great shot of not only winning the East, but also taking it as far as they can in the NBA championships.
No, I agree. I agree with everything both of you guys said. They dominated from beginning to end, and they're playing such good team basketball. I just have 2 things to add. Tatum never left. With this he's back thing, Tatum never left, honestly. When he came back, he was honestly even with his minute restrictions, he has just exploded since his first game back. So I think the people are saying Tatum back, dude never left, honestly. And the second thing is that the talent gap between the Celtics and the Sixers is just so apparent. I mean, Kelly Oubre is just not that guy. They don't have knockdown shooters. Kelly Oubre is not a knockdown shooter. Tyrese Maxey, although he's very good, he's not really a knockdown shooter. He's more of a slasher and go to the basket and maybe that mid-range kind of guy. They don't have the horses to keep up with the Celtics, and it's just apparent. And that being said, I think the playoff format should go back to 5 games because I just think that some of these first round matchups, it's kind of what are we doing? Why are we kind of wasting our time with some of them? I do think there are going to be a couple of good series, but just the talent gap between some of these teams and some of the other teams is just very, very, very massive, and you can see it.
Yeah, the first round is typically like that. I think what you said about Tatum, I think Tatum and Brown are playing the best basketball together. I think Tatum's sitting out, figured out how he could impact the game without having to be the guy per se, and it's just been a joy to watch. I also like that Joe went deep into the bench. Garza was in there. Hauser showed up at the beginning of the game with the threes. I sound like absolute shit, so I'm just going to stop talking because it was a great game. It was a blowout, and there's nothing more we need to say.
Plotty, no, No, Plotty, that was a good point about Garza. I like that. Like,
Me
if you're
too.
when you're playing against Andre Drummond and you have like this big ogre out there, like play someone like Garza and Vucevic. Like, play the guys that you don't need the speed, because there are going to be playoff matchups where Garza will not play. He won't even see the floor at all. But if Drummond's going to be out there, you have the
Take
opportunity to
advantage.
to play three big men and save your guys. So I like that point, Plotty, a lot.
I think just a few other things too just kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit. Jordan Walsh and Baylor Shireman both coming off and playing effective minutes off the bench. Jordan Walsh, his stats aren't going to show it, but he guarded Tyrese Maxey for a considerable period of time and made sure that everything that Tyrese was working for was extremely tough. So I think you got to give him a lot of credit as well. Last thought here about the game too. He did go deep into the bench with Joe. Want to give Ron Harper Jr. a shout out. He came in right at the end of the game, 4 minutes, impacts 5 points. Really cool to see him get on in and get an impact. So overall, it was great from that standpoint. A few things not related to the game, but NBA awards related, just because they all kind of came out yesterday. Joe Mazzulla nominated for a finalist for Coach of the Year. So
and can I talk really quick about a play that I don't think we talked about that went really unnoticed that Joe called up? It was some sort of pick play with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown got the offensive foul called. Joe literally yelled to Jaylen and said, they're running this slot play, and Jaylen knew exactly what was going to be coming and took the impact from Drummond, and it was an offensive foul and it went the other way. So it just goes to show, as you talk about, Joe being Coach of the Year, how much of an impact that he actually does have on the game.
He has a massive impact, and that's why he was named a finalist for Coach of the Year. He did come out today, Monday, 4/20, and said that he does believe the award should be renamed for Staff of the Year, because it is not just the coach, but it is the staff. So Joe trying to deflect all the award and the deflection from him to the rest of the team.
He's super humble. He's
a very humble guy.
He really is. He's like, I didn't score a basket. I haven't made an assist all year. He's like just crediting the players, and that's what a good coach is.
Yeah, that's why those guys want to fight for him, right?
Really quickly, did you guys hear the stories about him getting tased voluntarily in the offseason and then entering in under his wife's maiden name in an MMA contest?
Believe it.
I did hear that.
That guy.
This was on part of my take. I heard him talk about too that there's a guillotine rule in the house too.
His kid just chokes everybody.
His 7-year-old doesn't respect the tap out, or at least does now, but didn't before. So that all tracks. Violence is his love language.
Hendricken, man, I'll tell you what.
Don't fuck with the Mazzulla family, because that ain't gonna end well for
Hendricken kids, man.
Oh man. So speaking of awards. So Joe is really the only Celtic to be nominated for any award, which is kind of interesting. So they're shut out for all the other major awards. Keita, who had made a big leap this year from where he was before as a bench player to a starter, and not just a starter, but a very serviceable player for the starting five, and not named a finalist for the most improved player. Jaylen Brown, who had a phenomenal year this year, not a top 3 finalist for MVP. Derek White, also a great defensive year from him, not a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. Quick follow-up on that. Wemby did win that award today in the first unanimous pick for Defensive Player of the Year ever. Really hard to be upset about that for Derek. I just want Derek to be nominated more than anything. But you want to know, at the end of the day, we're not here for awards. We're here for Banner 19. Full steam ahead, 1 down, 15 to go.
Jaylen Brown will get that all-first team All-NBA, though. He should.
He will.
He absolutely will.
If
he gets screwed out of that because of Cade Cunningham and Luka being eligible for those awards, I'm going to be pretty upset.
That's bullshit. Luka sucks.
Added to the fuel for the fire for Jaylen Brown and the rest of the team, the disrespect, put it in the chip on your shoulder bucket, if you will, and continue to ride that into the rest of the series with Philadelphia. The only other thing that I had is it's just tried and true with Joel Embiid that he just doesn't do everything in his God-given ability to get back on the floor for this series. I know he had the appendectomy. I know that that's something, but it doesn't seem. I don't know how much he's doing. I don't really care, but the Celtics should take care of business regardless whether we're
direct deposit, baby.
Do you think he's? I mean, I think he's done in Philly. I think it's time for everyone to kind of move on at this point. So
Agreed.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
might be best for him to move on elsewhere.
it probably he would be, as a healthy guy that you wouldn't have to be the number one. He might be a guy that could be an impact player on a championship team, a la Anthony Davis and the Lakers sort of deal. So we'll leave it at that. I guess we can open it up if there's anything from the first round of the NBA playoffs in general, fellas. I mean, honestly, these games in the first round seem to be mostly blowouts. The only series that I really have my eye on is that Denver Minnesota
Mhm.
series, which will probably be a good one.
I mean, we could there's one call out in the East is that
Yeah.
Orlando beat Detroit, so I guess that's the only thing you can say is and that might speak more volumes on really what Detroit is rather than who
Yeah, I
Orlando
was
is,
gonna
so
say.
but that's really the
Good
only
call,
thing to
J-Matt.
mention that I wanted to say.
I mean, maybe don't sleep on the Hawks versus the Knicks. I know everyone thinks the Knicks are a foregone conclusion, and they did win, I think, by like 9 in the first game on Saturday. The Hawks are not a bad team, and I think they can give the Knicks some fits. The Knicks also had that first game at home. Let's see what happens in game 2, game 3, game 4. I'm not sold that that series isn't going to go 7. So, yeah, we'll see where that series goes.
All right, speaking about where things go, let's keep this bus moving. Let's shift it over to the ice and change it over. The NHL playoffs get underway. The Bruins make a trip out the pike to Buffalo for game one, and for about 50 minutes, 52 minutes, it looked pretty good for the Bruins. And then the roller coaster took twists and turns and corkscrews and everything in between, fellas. It was a disgusting loss 4-3 at the end to give up game one. There's so many things that we can get into with how it sort of happened. I think the biggest things were they were leaning on Swayman way too much. The pitfalls of this team and their inability to get out of the zone, or their defensemen to move the puck, bit them in the ass a few times. And it almost felt like you were watching the clock hoping for it to get to triple zeros, as opposed to them trying to add on to the score or play aggressive hockey, especially in that third period. So those are the things that I saw. Gabe's not with us tonight, so sort of round robin forum here. Whoever wants to take it and go with their thoughts on a gross game one loss for the Bruins.
I mean, Plotty, you said it. I mean, it was a brutal loss. They for what I think 52, maybe 53 minutes. They were up what the whole time, and then they just kind of gave in. And the biggest thing for me is that they weathered the storm within the first 10 minutes of the first playoff game that Buffalo's had in God knows how long. And not only did they weather the storm, but they were able to pot one early in the first and kind of they put the crowd out of it, but they just didn't really have like sustained pressure the entire night. 3 out of 4 lines really didn't show up. The only line that was really impressive, in my opinion, was the Pasta, Lindholm, and Geeky line. I thought that they were aggressive and they produced some offense. I think the Janot line was a no-show. I was expecting them to be very aggressive. I expect to see a lot of hits. I didn't see that from either Kaslik or Janot. I think that the kid line played pretty well, but I think you can also second guess Marco Sturm after the second goal that they let up in the third period. He put out the kid line for some reason. And I think that's a little crazy because the place was rocking, as you guys know. I mean, the barn was absolutely just shaking, and you can't. I just think you putting out 3 kids that are 22 and under. It's a really big spot for them, and I just wouldn't do that. So you can definitely second guess Marco Sturm on a little bit some coaching decisions. They just need some sustained pressure and some offense, and I think they're going to be okay. And if Geeky doesn't miss that open net, I think we're talking about a Bruins win right now. I Although Buffalo played a better game overall and they come out with the win, I'm not dejected. I think that this series is going to go at least 7 games. I think minimum 6, but I do think it's got 7 games written all over it. And the Bruins are a gritty team. They just gotta play a little bit more of that game, and they'll be fine, in my opinion.
Listen, their buttholes got a little tight, and it happened, and it clearly resulted in, what was not a great third period for the team. They can't just rely on Swayman to save everything. He really stood on his head, and I felt like at a certain point you gotta help him a little bit, and maybe 2 goals in a playoff game isn't enough. And I don't know if that's a fair thing to ask for. I mean, I think like obviously he is a great goaltender. I do think the one thing that I do think was a positive was the PK was really good during the game. So that is one thing that I am taking away, saying, all right, let's continue to build on that. But we got to be more physical with the Sabres. They were the aggressors. They were the more physical team. I think everyone thought that was an advantage for the Bruins coming into the series, and it kind of got flipped on its head in game one. I think specifically, I need to see Zadorov go after Tage Thompson. You really got to put a body on one of their best players, and that would be something I would love to see happen starting next game and game 2 and onwards.
Yeah, they gotta put up some more goals. They have to go ahead and take care of business in game 2 because I don't know if they're gonna be able to go ahead and win 4 out of 5 if they don't. So they let one slip through the cracks there. Sammy, any takes on the Bruins? Otherwise, we can go ahead and talk about the team on the
The
field if
really
you'd like.
spiraling team? No other takes. You guys really hit pretty much
I
all
got
the
one other thing. It's just a one move that I would make if I was Marco Sturm. I would say Andrew Peak and I would play Yoki Haru. I think Andrew Peak had a really, really tough game. So either you're gonna have a conversation with him about what he needs to do better, or you're gonna make a change. And making a change might wake the other guys up too. So might be something to look forward to.
Yeah, you needed Geeky to put that goal in at the end of the first period. It was really mind-blowing that he didn't just put it on net. Bruins drop game 1. They gotta get back on track tomorrow versus the Sabres in Buffalo. Another one tomorrow. All right, Sammy, let's shift to the team on the field, the Red Sox, where we had some boots on the ground throughout the course of the weekend as they returned home after their series in St. Louis. Up and down all around for this team. They are maddening in many ways, and there are a few positives in there as well. So I'll hand it over to you to break it all down for us.
Yeah, so since last airing, they're 3-3, so 500 team. This is probably what we're gonna look at all season long. Currently standing at 9-13. I believe they're 4.5 games behind. The biggest thing that I really just want to touch on, and J Matt, you touched on it last week, was Garrett Crochet and his shoulder. It is just at this point by far like way too apparent that he's got a dead shoulder. The Reddit sleuths were doing their things on the Red Sox subreddit, and they were breaking down everything with his velocity drop. They were breaking down his arm angle drop, and everything. They were talking about, I guess, his arm angle slot went from 35 to 30 degrees. So it's really affecting his velocity. It's affecting his accuracy. And this is all compensation because he's got a dead shoulder. So why he hasn't been on the IL for the last, I don't know, 5 days to get like even a 15-day IL stint, then go back down to the minor leagues just to get that mechanical error fixed, that would really solve the problem in the world of baseball and pitching. Dead shoulder doesn't necessarily mean that they're done for the whole entire year, but they do need some time off. We were sold, especially me, that pitching, this is what we're going to bring in. And really, aside from one round through, that one time that they went through the rotation the third time and they had a 1.29 ERA, they've been pretty shit. So, I mean, at this point, there's more holes in this team than there is in a slice of cheese. They had, a pullout win today against the Tigers. But again, it's to the point where, Sonny Gray gets injured in the game and now you're down another player and starting pitching. It's just, there's a lot of, at this point, I really don't know what to say or what to do with the team. They haven't dropped Roman Anthony down yet. I would have loved to see that just to give the kid a little bit more confidence so we can get back up as far as a hitter. Him being in the one spot, he's got no one behind him. So there's really no reason to even pitch to the kid. So really having someone behind him and in front of him is only going to make him invaluable. So to have the number 9 hitter behind him is really not doing him any justice. So to see him move back even to the 2 or 3 hole at this point, I would love to see. But really, we're in a downward spiral and the season's going to keep going and they're not going to stop for us and no team's going to give us any slack because we're stumbling and we're going to be in a competition for the number 1 prospect.
Sam, do you we were there Friday and we saw the game and it was Ranger Suarez pitched fantastic.
Great game.
And he had a great game.
8 strong
The
innings.
offense was nowhere to be found. And I think that's the
0-0.
problem with this team.
That's the issue.
Is that there's you're going to get the pitching for the most part, but you also in baseball have to be able to win a game 13-8 sometimes. And I just don't see that this team has the ability to do that. Now, today was a little bit different. They finally did open it up a little bit in the later innings.
I don't know. I disagree.
It
I was
was
watching it.
I'll take 8 runs from this team given the current state of play, however. So, but there's things like I want to break it down a little bit. Like The lineup, as you mentioned, Sam, is questionable to me. How a guy like Yoshida is not playing every day with the bat that he brings, whether it's a DH or getting him into the outfield. At this point, Jaron Duran has got to be riding the pine.
They
And
sat him
maybe
today.
he goes ahead and takes a few more days off because he's just been awful. Durbin is a nothing player. You got to hope that Trevor Story can somehow get back to where he was. The bright spot has been Contreras. He's been pretty solid, and Abreu's been solid. But they put way too much on guys like Anthony and Meyer to just be these all-star players at 20, 21, 22 years old. And it's just an unreasonable ask. And when they didn't re-sign Bregman, what they didn't factor into the equation when they did that is that they lost the voice in the room. They lost the leader of the clubhouse. And there's nobody in that room right now who assumes that role. You know, we all wanted Rafael Devers to do it. He couldn't do it. Last year, Bregman, I kind of did it, I guess. You would think that a guy like Crochet would be that guy, but maybe it has to be a position player, Sammy, that's
Or
out
even
there
Trevor
every
Story.
single day.
It's got to be
Yeah.
position player.
Yeah, but he fucking blows. So how do you that's the thing.
But
It's
he's
like,
not also that he blows. I don't think he's that type of guy. He doesn't command the room. You need like someone
right.
who's going to command the room and attention, like a judge and respect. And we just don't have that. Like the thing about today's game was in the Patriots 11 a.m. game, which is a great tradition that they play every time that the Boston Marathon happens. Is they had a 2-0 lead and the bases were loaded, and he pulled Jaron Duran, Cora, to bunt, and it was IKF, and IKF couldn't lay down the bunt. He ends up trying 3 times and fouls out, strikes out. And then the next batter, I believe, was Marcelo Mayer, and he calls Mayer back into the bench, and he puts up I believe it was Yoshida. It was Rafaela. Yeah, Rafaela. He did do well. He did knock in 2 runs. I think that made it 2-0. But the bases were still loaded, and you're just expecting that that explosion of an inning where it's, they can get 5 or 6 across, and with the bases loaded and no outs, they only were able to score 2. And it's like, yes, 2 is good in that situation, but with no outs, you're expecting to get at least, maybe 4. And we just haven't seen really that inning yet from this team. And that's the big concern for me, is I just don't think that they're able to put one of those big, innings together. In baseball, you need that, especially this day and age when you got pitchers that are throwing out their ass like Scooble and whatnot. You need to get that big inning and take advantage of it. And they just, I don't know if they can.
Yeah, J Matt, you said it perfectly. I think that's really honestly the Sox's biggest issue is they're leaving way too many runners on base. I think they're trying to do too much with runners on base, and they just need to just pass the baton and move it on and let someone else do it and let the pitcher make a mistake and let someone else capitalize.
I mean, I think that's a big part of it for sure, but I think the problem too is they're not generating enough walks either. So they're not getting on base enough either through the bat, or they're not being patient enough at the plate.
7 times today.
They walked 8 times today, and I went back to go look over the last couple of games. They're averaging like 3, maybe 4 walks per game. So yeah, if they're going to get on base at a higher clip, almost 200% higher than what they do on a normal game, regardless if you're going to hit more or less or the same, you're going to generate more opportunities. So, being a little bit more patient at the plate and maybe not striking out as much and trying to go for the fences every single time might also benefit this club.
And Caleb Durbin, shut the fucking internet off and stop listening to 98.5 and those guys and just play the baseball you know how to play, because you're actually a really decent player, and I don't want to see the Red Sox turn you into shit.
He actually had a good game today.
Yeah, he did. He went 2 for 4.
So still, let's build on that, and maybe we can turn the page here with him.
The one positive outcome of all this, and I think to echo what Garrett Crochet said, is that you can't lose the playoffs in April. You just can't. You are in it technically. Granted, you're 4 games under 500, but it's not like this team is 1 in 21 or 1 in 22. Yeah. All it takes is a couple of good weeks and a couple of some solid baseball, and this team can turn it around. I'm hopeful. I want them to do it. There's things that they're doing on a daily basis that are holding them back, and that's the thing that's really tough as a Red Sox fan right now.
Agreed. I mean, if they sweep the next series, it's like they're right back in the division. I mean, they're not out of it by any means, being 4 games back right now. So got
the Yankees.
But I was going to say, next 2 series, they do have they have potential to make up ground for sure.
So like let's before we all go gloom and doom, let's see what happens. I think I agree wholeheartedly with Yoshida getting more into the lineup.
Yes.
I think there are definitely some things that they can do. So I'm not gloom and doom there yet, but we need to start making up some ground and start being a little bit better than 500 ball here, because at a certain point 500 ball is not going to help you at a certain point when the calendar starts to flip to May and June.
Yeah, excuse me. They're gonna need to turn it on here, win some series, especially against better competition. Yankees come to town this week, a big series. We'll break it all down next week. As you guys mentioned, they're not out of it. Stay afloat. Try and get to 500 by the end of the month, and we might be singing "Sweet Caroline" with a little more gusto in the eighth
Really
inning.
quickly, what are your thoughts on Cam Schittler saying that Boston fans are giving him death threats?
I believe it. I mean, there's some crazy people out there. It's not great, not good, but I believe
I mean,
there are some crazy people.
What I will say is the kid is from here. He grew up here. I think he should know that he shouldn't take any of those seriously. It just comes with the
Yes.
rivalry.
That's what I mean.
But I do believe that those threats were made.
Yes.
Let me also say this about Cam Slittler, and like he shouldn't be getting death threats. Let me state that first and foremost. He plays
Sure.
right into it though. Like he's like posting
Asking
the
for
Bruins
it,
shit
literally.
and like obviously he's from here and like all this stuff, and like, buddy, if you don't want to engage in that, then don't talk the shit and don't say the things that you say. Like you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. So you can fuck right off. I hope they take him to town this week if he's pitching.
Same here.
He's shoved it up our ass
Oh,
in
he
the
is.
playoffs
He's
last
pitching.
year.
I think he's pitching Sunday or the third game.
Good, because he got us a couple of times. Now it's our turn.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's how baseball works, baby.
It sure does. All right. Well, hopefully they can get back to winning ways. It wasn't the worst week. It certainly wasn't the best week, but they stayed afloat. They didn't go completely down the drain, and they salvaged the series. It is always good to get that Patriots stay win. I will say this. We talked about it obviously at the top of the show, but I also think, to round out the Red Sox, that this day is one of the great days. You got the flag that goes, and I think that the speech that David Ortiz made 13 years ago might be the
speech of all time.
One of the single most important speeches of honestly all time, and I'd say that because in the face of all the shit that goes on in the world and the things that happened and the divisiveness and the divide that there is in this country with so many different things, it was a rallying point and it was unifying. And I got to shout out Will Fleming, who on the radio broadcast today dropped the hard F-bomb and said, "I'll take the fine. It's that important that speech is reiterated word for word." And the meaning that went along with it. So shout out to Will Fleming for doing that, and good stuff there. Go ahead, Eric.
Someone set up a GoFundMe for him and take care of that.
Hopefully his boss
is the FCC chairman still a Harvard grad?
Yeah, I think John Henry can cough up a few bucks to take care of that.
Right. Yeah, right. If he can't cough up for fucking players, you think he's going to cough up for that? Get the fuck out of here.
Maybe David Ortiz might be
he's like, well, that's actually coming out of your salary. But
yeah.
That we're and we're going to hit you with a fine.
Excellent. All right, boys.
I'm not going to go there yet.
No, don't do it. Not worth it. All right,
I'm not doing it.
Let's keep going to where there is some action going down in Foxborough.
Is there, though?
There is.
Is there?
Today?
I don't know.
It's like allegedly.
Stuff we already know, guys.
Well, that's a whole other thing that we discussed last week. There really isn't much news there, but there is news in regard to the draft taking place later this week. Also, OTAs are on the docket this week, where just about everybody was in the building today. So, J-Matt, a couple football notes to go through. Let's do it, buddy.
It's like not a bunch, but AJ Brown, apparently there was news from Schefter today that AJ Brown is likely, and I'm air quotes for people that are listening on the pod, that he's going to get traded to us after June 1st. One of my buddies texted me and I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it at this point. It's just because there's been so many rumors that it's like, if it actually happens, like tell me, and then I'll I'll react. But just, this little Schefter news is kind of really nothing to me, honestly.
It's like the third or fourth time they've done it.
Exactly. It's like nothing. What are you going to go, Biggie?
Beating a dead horse.
See something
Sorry,
Peter. Today. that was talking a little bit about not the reason why it happened today, but obviously it's around the draft. They want to get ahead of it a little bit because the Eagles are pretty likely to probably draft a receiver. The other thing that was coming on up that I saw is there are potential trade proposals out there where the Patriots might have to trade a receiver back with a pick, and depending on which receiver they trade, that impacts what draft
Yeah.
positioning they're going to send back as well. So there was rumors today from Jordan Schultz about Keyshawn Booty being
Yep.
potentially on the move. So he might potentially be on the move, potentially for AJ Brown and a pick.
Apparently he's on the
But I think
beach.
apparently he's on the beach. But I think one thing that's become apparent through this too is they're not going to get a first rounder for AJ Brown because it's not with this draft. It's going to be for 2027. And
Yeah.
typically for a lot of GMs were saying that when you look at a draft pick that's a year out, it automatically will drop around. So if it was going to be a first rounder this year, it would be a second rounder next year.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not so sure that we're even gonna get a first rounder for this guy because like the top, it's almost like a foregone conclusion that he's gonna come to the Patriots at this point. So why, if I'm Philly and if I have leverage, why am I gonna give a first round pick when it's kind of all in the NFL circle that he's gonna come here already? I would offer second if I could do that, or just maybe find another suitor and not give up my first round pick. That's what I would do. So. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot of like Patriots news. There's a couple other NFL news. Dexter Lawrence, I believe that's the guy from the Giants. He got traded. He got traded to
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Yep. So
Ended.
a little
Straight
bit
up.
of an interesting move there. So just something I wanted to mention. But
Straight
yeah, I
up
don't
for the
really know-
10th pick.
for the 10th pick. So
And now the Giants have 2 top 10 picks, I think they're probably not going to package them to move up, but they can get 2 impact players. So that's kind of an interesting move for them. I do think, like, I am curious about what do you guys think the Patriots are going to do for next week? I don't know if you guys have looked in and seen any of the mock drafts, have any players that you guys have your eyes on, but the draft is going down this week. It's taking place on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Would love to kind of hear what you guys are looking for the Patriots this week.
So the one thing I want them to go for, but not early because I've heard that this draft is super deep with them, is tight ends. I hope they get a tight end in maybe a later round, maybe a couple tight ends, like a blocking tight end too, because I think they need that, but also a finesse tight end. But don't spend a high pick on that because apparently this is a very deep tight end.
Do you guys think the draft this year just like doesn't have the same sort of buzz as previous years, and it has a lot to do with the fact that there isn't like a quarterback class that's coming out that has all these marquee names? I mean, you have Mendoza, who I think everybody thinks the Raiders are going to go ahead and take with that first overall pick, but after that, like, and Mendoza wasn't even a guy going into the year last year in college where anybody was really talking about him as this guy that's going to come out and be the #1 overall pick. Like, I just feel this year going into the draft compared to the past couple of years, like there's zero buzz, there's zero like anticipation comparatively to the past couple of years from a draft standpoint.
Yeah, I think the reason why is the top end talent isn't there. Not necessarily just quarterback. I think quarterback obviously is the sexy headline grabber of all the drafts, typically, especially when you go back 2 years ago with Drake May, Caleb Williams, and
Jaden.
oh my God, Jane Daniels. But this year, it's not even just them. Like, even the top receivers aren't separated like there have been in years past. There's no Malik Neighbors. There's no JSN that's coming on out. So where I do think this draft is actually pretty solid, though, is in the middle and on the defensive side. I think there are going to be a lot of really good defensive players that are going to be taken in this draft. And I think for that reason, this draft is not looked at as a sexy draft compared to years past. But I do believe there's still a lot of talent that can be had here.
I would love for the Patriots to focus on the front seven. I think adding in another guy with Milton Williams and Barmore is good, especially with a guy like Barmore who's going to have a contract. I'll actually go all defense. I think that they need a younger, rangy kind of linebacker, a la Jimmy Collins, who can go sideline to sideline. I don't really think that they had that last year at the linebacker position. And you have a guy in Gonzalez who's gonna muster up a huge contract here, whether it's this offseason or next. So yeah, I do think you got to look at the secondary and how do you fit guys around him at corner or at the safety positions. I know they did some work there last year, but I do think the defensive side of the ball is going to be their focus with perhaps that tight end and an O lineman or two. And I wouldn't sleep on a running back pick either. I think a third guy into the room with Henderson and Stevenson. Gibson is out, and I don't think that any of the third tier guys that they had last year are really going to stick. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him spend a pick on a running back. And you never know what can happen as well. Obviously, lots of trades and moves happen throughout the course of the draft, both players and picks.
I think they need a quarterback
Yeah.
too.
I think they'll go for
They
a
let
quarterback, but I
dogs
think
go,
late.
Yeah,
I think
probably
also
late.
running back could be late. Sam, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out, and you guys might be able to help me out with this. Vrabel was pictured with not Diana Rossini, but
Offensive tackle
believe
out of Arizona State.
thank you.
I got you.
What's his
I
name?
got you.
I thought
Max,
I thought it was a linebacker. I thought it was a linebacker
No,
from
he's an offensive
Oklahoma.
tackle. Max I T4. He's an offensive tackle out of ASU. He's been moving up the draft boards pretty steadily.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say I also thought there was another linebacker that he was looking at too, and I'm trying to figure out who
I
it
do
is.
think linebacker would be a good move for this team if
Yeah.
they decided to go there.
There's a linebacker from Oklahoma that had caught Vrabel's interest, so
Speed. They need more speed.
we'll see.
Yeah,
If you want fast
I
guys,
mean-
draft fast guys.
Thank you.
I think the one thing that you mentioned, Plotty, that you guys should also be aware of too is they're in a pretty enviable position at the end of the first round, second to last pick. So if there is a team that does want to move up into the first round, not necessarily just to get a player that they want, but they get the extra year of control for being a first round pick versus a second round pick, there could be a good way for the team to get more assets, whether that's an additional third rounder, fourth rounder, or so on, and use that capital later on for other moves. So something to keep your eye on. And, I think it would be very Patriots for them to have us wait all night on Thursday and then not make a pick.
You can almost take that one to the bank. Good stuff, fellas, on the draft. We'll have all the names. We'll go through all the rounds. Next week, we have our good friend Mike Cadlick, who will jump on with us to break down the draft and talk off-season Patriots, who will join us for next week's episode. So looking forward to Mike being with us. Before we get to Big E in the next segment, we do have, I wouldn't call it breaking news, but Sonny Gray has been sent to the IL. Let me get my terminology right here. He's been sent to the injured list with that hamstring injury he had today. And Tyler Samaniego will be called up to the big league team. So I am a little bit surprised it's Samaniego and not I'm just gonna call him Tyler San Diego here. And that will be his name moving forward throughout his time with the team.
All right, now he's Carmen San Diego. Where in the world?
Sure. But speaking of Carmen San Diego, where in the world is Peyton Tolley, and why is he not the guy getting called up in this situation?
Just
And
like
is
I
that the
said
only
earlier.
reason? Is it I have to imagine a righty-lefty sort of situation there. But some roster
What do you
moves there
know?
for
The advanced
the Red
analytics
Sox.
getting into the Red Sox. What do you know?
Break out your
Sell your
Excel
team,
sheet.
dude. Sell
Already
your fucking
sound like a
team.
stuffy nerd. So Big E, why don't you take it away so I don't keep sounding like.
All righty. We got, my favorite time of the week. We're going to talk about some things that we don't like. The things that, they just flat out stink. No one likes them. They're smelly. We go yo to those. And then there are the things that we absolutely love, the things that bring us the most joy in our life. And those are the things that make me get up in the morning, shout from the rooftops and go, oh yeah. Who's got a yeah-oh or an oh yeah this week?
I got a oh yeah. Have you guys, I know you're all music junkies, have you guys seen any of the Angines de Potines videos by chance?
Love.
No,
No.
you guys. It's one guy who they like wear these costumes, and one guy has like a double. He's got it's a guitar bass, and he just like continually like loops things. I would 100% look into them. Samsonite, if you're listening, you definitely know what I'm talking about. These guys are absolutely insane and wild, and there's some weird reason I just can't stop listening to them. So I highly suggest you guys do the same.
Right. Have to get on it. Yeah.
Love it.
O's. Any yeah O's?
I got a yeah-oh. I got a big yeah-oh here. And it's something that really didn't hit me until yesterday for the first Celtics game. But this is the first year with the new television deal where there are no more local broadcasts for the first round of the NBA playoffs. And this kind of, I did get a little wind of this last week, and I'm going to give a little oh yeah to this guy for it because Mike Breen, who calls the games nationally for ESPN, he also is on the local call for the Knicks throughout the year as well.
MSG.
And he was advocating for the local guys, saying that this is a travesty with this new media deal that's been taken away from the local guys. And if you guys remember, we had Sean Grandy on here earlier this season, and he had talked about, one of the benefits of staying on radio versus moving over to television is he does get to call all the games. And it's just a kind of a travesty that that's something that's kind of changing with this new media landscape that we're embarking on for these NBA playoffs here. So I pour one out for Scal and Drew. Shout out to, and also oh yeah to Drew for running the marathon as well and raising some money.
Hell yeah, Drew. Good stuff. I got a
Go for it.
It's kind of I just feel like Patriots Day is we're getting robbed of a true Patriots Day today. Patriots Day, in my opinion, is Red Sox marathon and then either a Celtics or a Bruins home playoff game at night at like 7 p.m. And we're just not getting that tonight. So I truly feel like something's a little off this Patriots Day. And I think that's what it is that there's no home night game for one of the sports teams at the Garden. And it's a shame. Big yow.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I was
Agreed.
being at the Red Sox game yesterday. This is a bucket list item for me, is doing a Celtics or Bruins and Red Sox doubleheader where you go ahead and you get over from one game to the other. I think that there were a couple people who hit that Celtics game yesterday and made their way over to Fenway in the afternoon. So I agree, J Matt, it sucks. But on the flip side, the rest of this week after tonight, you do have alternating games pretty much the rest of the way.
Buddy, I think that sounds like a challenge for the Boston Sports Bros at some point over the next year or two where we get that doubleheader on in. So challenge accepted, my friend.
All right. We'll add it to the list. Love it. All right. We got a couple more yaos. Who wants to take I mean, we have already talked about this one, but it looks like there's even more stuff going on. Anybody want to take this one in our train?
The ticket prices, the trains. Yeah. So I was reading an article about this. So apparently to recoup from what they had lost in 2004, which is 22 years ago now, they are going to be charging $150 to go from New York City, so from Manhattan to East Rutherford or whatever it's called, to MetLife Stadium. What, did I butcher it?
No, it was good.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's what made me laugh. That's what made me laugh.
I said it perfectly, and it's called whatever it's called. But yeah, so it's $150 for a train ride. It's I believe a 9-mile ride, 12.5 minutes, and it doesn't matter if you're a child or if you're an adult, you still have to pay $150. And it gets even grosser because to get from, I believe, Providence to Gillette, it's $80. And
no, there's no Providence. They're not doing Providence.
There's no Providence. You have to go from Boston.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
We chatted about it. We chatted about this.
Yeah.
We've chatted about this already.
The wheel. Sam can't even believe it.
Raz is so flabbergasted. He's froze.
No, I mean, if California of all places is going to keep it at like $1.50, like,
yeah.
Hey, it's the Northeast, baby. The Northeast is expensive.
Yeah, but gas is like, I was gonna say gas is super expensive out there. I would have expected it to be super expensive out there too.
They got their autonomous vehicles. They're okay.
Not $80 for a bus ride to then like have to go pay another like absorbent amount of money for tickets and all this other shit.
It's truly outrageous. It goes back to the top of the show how I was saying, how can an event like today take place? Not only does it take place in the city, but you bus 30,000 people out to Hopkinton, this little fucking town off of 495, and somehow have this run through one of the major roads and close it down throughout the course of the day. But we can't figure out how to get people to Gillette Stadium for the World Cup when they host a football game there every fucking weekend with 70,000 people. They've had Taylor Swift, the biggest music artist in the world,
not sell those lots out.
They've had it just, I don't
no
understand.
Too. Yeah, no tailgating too. That's
the whole point of the whole fucking thing is the tailgate.
Hey, I'm glad I'm watching the Brazil game with a bunch of Brazilians at a house party up here. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm not going to have to deal with any of that bullshit.
I've already seen Brazil.
It's just going to be
it's all Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Kaká.
Hell yeah.
Cochinas.
Cochinas are so good.
Those are fire. All right, Biggie, it's our time of the week where we get to talk a little bit about the reality TV. This is the story that won't die. It's been awesome. The Bravo Boys are back for the Bravo Boys segment.
Yeah.
And
Hell yeah.
This week
We went to Bravo night on Friday night at Fenway,
That's
by the
right.
way.
Yes, that's
That was
right. Oh yeah,
that
to
was
that.
Bravo night. So
All right,
oh,
we'll
yeah.
we'll flip that. We'll flip that around after this.
Yeah, there's yeah-ohs and oh yeahs all over the place here. So the yeah-oh is that we talked extensively about the Amanda and West situation, and now they're pretty much just moving on with their lives as if everything's hunky-dory and good to go. And you see them out there in the Bronx. You see West, who's looks to be a Royals fan, I guess.
He's from Kansas City, so that tracks.
Okay, so makes sense, tracks, fair enough. And the two of them are just nagging each other like a couple that's been together for a long time, and just gross. They're kissing, and like the fact that they're just so comfortable publicly being out there given the entire circumstances of what went down is truly unbelievable. Then you have Kyle, who's making out with a Real Housewives of Orange County or New Jersey person, so he's doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. It's a hot mess in the Bravo Street, Biggie. It's all over the fucking place, and I can't even keep up. And I think all of them are just like, I don't even know like, where does real life enter into this equation, and where does like the fact that they're just living in this fake reality TV world bleed over? Like, I don't even know if they understand that.
What the fuck is going on?
I mean, I feel like Amanda and West. Are pot committed right now. Like they have to be all in, otherwise, like all the shit that they did here is for nothing, right? So, also, by the way, they had some like lip readers, and she was like saying to him like, "Act like you like me," and like clearly you can see that like it's not going to be a good situation. It's not going to last. It's not fun. Amanda, not fun. Summer should be fun.
Yeah, well, it'd be nice if summer could come around here because the weather has
Yeah.
been fucking bipolar.
What is this, like fucking middle school gossip hour over here? What the fuck is going on?
Sammy,
Sam,
Sammy
you don't want
boy.
to talk about your girl Joellen?
Oh yeah, Rory. Speaking of which, oh yeah, to Rory, we were at the Red Sox on Friday night for J-Matt's birthday. Oh yeah, to that. But it was Rory night at the old ballpark at Fenway Park on Friday. So yeah, to that. And Sam, you got any takes on Rory and your girl Joellen and the rest of the crew?
I mean, she was in one of my, not really my girl. She was just in one of my classes, and I believe she was a family friend. Actually, I think she's a tribe member, believe it or not.
Really?
I'm
Really?
not 100% certain, but I'm like 95% certain that she is on the other side.
Apparently, she's a shit stirrer. Was she a shit stirrer in class back in the day?
Probably. I mean, I didn't really hang out with Cranston West kids. I was more of a Hendricken kid, to be completely honest. I didn't really like the kids over
She was
at
on the other
West.
side,
No
from the other
offense.
side of the tracks.
No offense to the Cranston West kids, but
Sam,
no, us Hendricken kids hung out with the Bayview girls more.
Sam,
so
one of the
anything.
Lincoln girl ladies on the show, she goes, yeah, I would never live where Joellen lives in Cranston. I'm from an upscale town called Lincoln. And I'm like, bro, Lincoln touches Central Falls, yeah.
This fucking lady has no idea what she's talking about.
You ain't living in the Italian Riviera.
Literally.
Let me tell you.
That's what
If you're
Rebecca said.
living in-
She's like they're showing them on the car, like on driving down these Cranston streets, and it's like triple decker. It's not like lavish like LA or like Orange County. It's just hilarious, actually. It's a different style of housewife.
And
It
this has been your Bravo Boys Minute.
It is. It is interesting having someone that I did go to high school with on that show. Perfect person for it too. I mean, she was cool in class, and I'm sure she probably stirs up shit on the show, like you guys said. So.
Check it out if you haven't.
They all witnessed
Dive in.
Masataka Yoshida go ahead and have a walk-off.
What? It's time to get down the pike, man.
All right, let's get down the pike. I think the Benadryl or whatever you took is taking effect.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm absolutely cooked over here. So yeah, let's park this car, call it a day.
Let's go celebrate the holiday.
God damn it. Celtics and Sixers, what's the schedule this week, Biggie?
All right, we got game 2 coming up on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. We got 7 o'clock for all starts here for the next 3 games. We got a game on Friday at 7 o'clock. This game is in Philly. This will be on Prime. The other games will be on your choice of Peacock or NBC. And then we got a game on Sunday to round us out for hopefully a sweep here if the Celtics are able to do what we hope that they can do. And that game will be at 7 o'clock on Peacock/NBC.
Excellent. Gabe's on here. I'll run through the Bruins quick. They get back to it in Buffalo Tuesday, and then they're back at the TD Garden for Thursday at 7 and Sunday afternoon matinee at 2 p.m. So we will come back next Monday, fellas, and have a sense of where both of these teams stand. Hopefully the Celtics are able to take care of business and complete the sweep, and we're still talking about the Bruins games that will be coming up after that. And Sam, a big week for the Red Sox.
Yep, we just got a win with the Detroit Tigers. I believe we took that series, then 3 with the Yankees, and then 3 with Baltimore, and then we'll be back here this week. So let's hope we can go 4-2.
Division baseball on deck this week, a fully loaded sports calendar, near, far, wherever you are. Big E's got one more.
I was just saying,
Yep.
last thing for the Patriots, we got the draft ahead this week, so we got to nail this draft and have another good back-to-back draft to make up for some shitty drafts that Bill Belichick participated in the early 2000s.
Oh, it's going to take us a while.
So
It's
a
gonna
big
take-
draft
it's gonna
here.
take a few years.
If they have a solid draft here like they had in last year, we could be in a nice position. So hopefully they draft well.
Absolutely. That'll do it. Near, far, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to the audience for dealing with my stuffed nose all this episode. I hope you made it to the end. Fellas,
Brought
always
to you
great
by
to
Dayquil.
see your beautiful faces. Happy
Clip
420.
that.
Toke
Clip
away,
that.
boys and girls. Toke away. We'll see you next
Clip
week.
that. Later. See ya.
Later.